Good morning. So I just wanted to share a message. So I got a voice memo for a friend. Right as I was sending her a text, she was sending me a voice memo. I had texted her earlier being like, hey, just wanted to check in. And she was saying in the voice memo with tears that she was feeling a spirit of hopelessness, that God has given her all these promises and she is struggling to still hold on and still believe that he's going to do what he says he's going to do. And it's interesting because the devotional that I had just sent her had said, Psalms 27:13, I'd have fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And then it goes on to say, I know your work, says the Lord. Behold, I have opened a door before you, and no man can shut it. For you have a little strength. You have kept my word and have not denied my name. What others around you have given up on their faith, don't you give up. Others may have turned their backs on me, but you keep on clinging to me. With every ounce of faith in you will be glorified in your life, and I will complete the work I've started in you. Just keep on believing. You will see my salvation, and you will see my glory manifest in your life. So every morning, one of the devotionals that I love is Daughters of a King. Shout out to the owner of that one. It has gotten me through so many dark places. I go on to say this, that my friend was saying that she was feeling like she had a table where she was putting all of her promises down on the table, and she was waiting on God to tell her which promises to pick up. And when she gets that clarity on which promises to pick up, then she's like, I need confirmation after confirmation after confirmation that you are going to do what you said that you were going to do. I've been there. I've been on that hard place when you're waiting on the promise from God and you're just hopeless because you're like, I feel like I've been waiting forever. And I always kind of love the Abraham story, thinking of Sarah. If you have Amazon Prime, there's a great movie if you're feeling hopeless for me, encouraged me during that faith. And I think it's called His Only Son. And it's a movie based off of Abraham and Sarah's story. And also when he's about to go sacrifice Isaac. And it was encouraging for the first time when I saw it, seeing it from Sarah's point of view of like how the Ishmael situation came about and how just like Sarah was just hopeless. And I feel like sometimes we make the worst decisions when we're hopeless, when we have that faith fatigue. And that's real. But the thing that I also realized that occurred in my life before this breakthrough came through, and one of those was a promise of marriage, right? Was I had to start looking at why I was so hopeless and so devastated at the thought of not getting this promise. Like, God is not man. He does not lie. If he gave you the promise, he'll give it to you. But at the same time, it has to be, one, you have to be mature enough. Two, your heart has to be in the same place, because if not, we will idolize the promise. And when we get the promise will become an idol, and that idolship will cause a separation between us and God. So my question to her was, right, like, what do you think this promise is going to bring to you? What feelings do you believe this promise is going to bring to you? What fulfillment do you believe this promise is going to bring to you? And I was like, journal them. Write all of them down. When you imagine this promise, when you're thinking of all the dreams and everything, what do you feel like? What are you seeing? Like, write it down, make it plain. And then I was like, let's talk about it later and let's reframe it. Because at the end of the day, if you're thinking that this promise is going to bring you any type of fulfillment or anything else, then those are areas right now in your life where there's a lack and there's a hole. And there's a potential that this promise is going to become an idol when it comes to pass. So we need to feel so secure and so filled in our relationship with the Lord and where we are in life before the promise, so that God can trust us with the promise. So to anyone else who's dealing with a spirit of hopelessness because they're waiting on a promise from God and you're afraid that it's not going to come to pass, I really implore you to be like, what right now am I missing that I think this promise is going to fulfill? What validation do I think this promise is going to bring? What joy, what fulfillment do I think this promise is going to bring? And then write those things down. Be 100% transparent. And then I would say take it to the Lord. Take it to a Lord. Take it to a therapist as well, and a close friend. Everyone needs a community. Trying to birth a promise by yourself is like telling a pregnant woman in the middle of giving birth that, oh girl, you got it, you can do it by yourself. Like, no one can do this alone. This is a big job. You need a community, because you're also going to need a community to sustain your promise, right? You need support. So write these feelings down, write these things down, take it to a close confidant friend and a therapist, and definitely the Lord, and ask him to show you where you got the picture right, where you got the picture wrong. And in the areas that you're needing fulfillment, ask him how, in a holy way, that these can be fulfilled, so that you're not putting so much pressure on the promise when it comes to fill you. Because a lot of times, if you bring that mentality into the promise, you're also going to sometimes be disappointed by the promise, because you're asking the promise to do more than what the promise was created to do. You're asking the promise to fill spaces that only God can fill. And so therefore you're going into the promise with a lack, and you're also going to the promise putting an uncomfortable, heavy burden on whoever the promise is, that can strain and break whatever relationships are needed to be made, or even just like skew your enjoyment of it, you know? So that's all I have to say to anyone who's dealing with the spirit of hopelessness. How to kind of overcome the hopelessness is just, getting real and leaning on your community with that realness, and having them help you to reframe and to help plug those holes, so that you find full fulfillment, so that now God can trust you with it, knowing that you're not going to make this thing into some type of idol in your life and cause separation between the two of you. I hope you all have a great day.